Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Allison and welcome to another cosplay chat. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to choose a costume, whether it be your first costume or you are a more seasoned veteran and don't know what costume to pick next. So this is going to be kind of part one in a two-part series in how to plan a costume. I'm very big on planning and I like writing things down and making sure that everything I want to make is kind of mentally or physically prepared. So picking a costume is a really big part of that, whether you're a newer cosplayer or a more seasoned veteran. These tips might help you out a lot in the long run. So the first thing I'm going to say about picking a costume is you want to decide whether or not you're picking your costume based off of how much you like the character or your skill level. If you're picking off the character, you obviously want to pick something that you really admire or a character that really resonates with you. Whereas if you're picking based on your skill level, there's a couple other different routes that you can go. So I'll kind of take you through both of those, whether it be picking a costume for a character based off a character you admire or based off of something that you want to improve. And there's my cat. Bye! Bye Luna, see you later. So we're going to start talking about picking your cosplay based off of a character. So of course you're going to want to create a list. So make a list of all the characters that you want to cosplay, whether it be now or in the future, and kind of put them in a ranking order between like most desire to cosplay and the least desire to cosplay. If this is too difficult for you, like it is for me as well, maybe rank them on how well the character resonates with you. So for example, characters that I resonate with or that, you know, I really enjoyed in a certain series or that were my favorite character, I might put them more at the top of the list because I will, you know, want to cosplay them more because they're my favorite character. Now personally, I like to have some sort of connection to the character. This is not always the case. You don't have to have a connection with the character. You just have to kind of admire the character itself, whether it be, you know, like on a more personal level or just on an aesthetic level. I think it is totally okay to cosplay something that you've never seen before, as long as you are doing it to, you know, pay homage to the character. Like, oh, I really love this character's design, I love this character's outfit, I love this character's demeanor, or this character looks a lot like me. I think that's okay. But that being said, you know, like don't get on someone's back for, you know, admitting that they have never played this game or watched this anime before, but they really have an affiliation for the character. I think that's still totally okay. Now this part can be kind of hard, and that's picking one out of the top 5 to be your cosplay costume. Now just remember, when picking these costumes, it's not set in stone until you decide, and you can always switch back later if you really want to. But what I like to do when basing it off of a specific character is I also think about the convention I'm going to. For example, if I'm going to Katsucon, that's kind of like it's a pretty con. It's also in the winter, so I want to make something that's a little bit warmer, but also might be a little bit more detailed, but it's also very crowded. So I tend to pick something that might be a little less bulky because there's a lot of people, but it's also pretty intricate and just pretty. And if we do masquerade, then I will think, all right, how is this character gonna look on stage? How am I gonna make this costume look good on stage? Do I have to dance in it? There's a couple different factors that might go into planning a costume based off of the convention alone. If you're going to a smaller convention, you might want to make something a little smaller. For example, you might want to do some intricate sewing work and just make a beautiful Love Live costume. I'm not super familiar with Love Live, but I always see a ton of it at anime conventions. Or if you don't want to make a large armor build, maybe try to do the casual version of that character. For example, Brigitte. There's a lot of people who love Brigitte but don't want to do that full armor build, so they do the casual Brigitte from the Reinhardt cinematic. So that's kind of the mindset that goes through my head if I'm basing my costume just off of the character alone. Another thing you also might want to put in the back of your head is if you're buying or making your costume. Some cosplays might be easier to buy, and then some might be easier to make at home because they might be, you know, a little bit more niche and they might not sell them online, or it might be a new character and you might not be able to find it online. So the other half of this is basing a cosplay off of your skill level. So if you're basing your cosplay off of your skill level, basically what that means is, are you a beginner, intermediate, are you a novice, are you an expert? What type of builds do you like to create the most, and how much time do you have? Another thing that I personally like to base my costumes off of is, okay, is there one element or a couple pieces on this costume where I'm not 100% sure if I'm able to do them with my current experience. I like to challenge myself in different ways when it comes to creating costumes. For example, Sombra was wig work, and I'm still not, you know, super happy with it, but I'm very happy that I pulled that out in the long run because I'm not very good with wigs. Aranea was like a full armor build, like a clean armor build. That was also functional, so I could wear it in the masquerade and not have pieces flying and flopping all over the place. And then Farah was just like big, impressive armor builds fit for my body and my shape, and also to pay homage to Farah because I love her. And then the next costume I have coming up, which is Tamatoa from Moana, is going to be sewing. So I like to pick these like one particular elements to work on whenever I'm creating a costume, or to really focus in on to improve my skills. So if you're a beginner cosplayer, you might not know the exact way to get something across, but what I can recommend is to do your research, or maybe start off with buying a costume instead so that you know how it feels. Just remember that if you're a newer cosplayer, don't get discouraged, and just know that cosplay is expensive when you're first starting out. But again, when it comes to, you know, picking costumes based off of your skill level or based off of a certain skill that you want to highlight or improve on, I still recommend making a list. Kind of write down the character and what elements you want to be focusing on the most. And then also maybe basing it off what convention you're going to, whether it be, you know, a convention that's pretty far in the future and you have a lot of time to work with the materials, or if it's pretty close by and you don't have a lot of time at all but really want to make it work. So that's really about all the tips I have for picking your cosplay. It sometimes can be very difficult, and a lot of times when it comes to cosplayers, once you kind of start rolling, you eventually just start picking things. You're like, I want to cosplay that, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that. Slow your roll a little bit and maybe put some of those on the back burner and focus on the costumes that really resonate with you, or the ones that you haven't been able to get out of your head for the past 3 years. This happens a lot. You know, I kind of think of the same rule with tattoos. I feel like if you have a tattoo in your head for a couple years and, you know, your opinion has not changed on it, then you should get that tattoo. It's kind of the same thing with cosplay. If you've had this cosplay, you know, in your mind for a while, whether it be with like a month, 2 months, a year or so, then I think you should put it on your cosplay to-do list instead of, you know, that brand new character that you just, you know, happen to like a little bit. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope this is helpful for some of you guys. I do appreciate a lot of the feedback on Cosplay Chat. If there is any more videos that you want to see or anything specific you would like me to talk about, please leave it down in the comments, and I will hopefully be able to make those into videos. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.